Have you ever encountered a hopeless heart? Or maybe you are that hopeless heart. Well, today on Growing Hope, I'm going to share my hopeless stories. And also, I'm going to share some tips for how I clawed my way out of those hopeless seasons back into a relationship with hope.
It's time for Growing Hope, the show determined to grow up hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Because you are extraordinary! And now, it's your host, Kathryn Lang.
Hello there, and welcome to Growing Hope. I am Kathryn Lang, and since I am a hope smith, and this is Growing Hope, you may be wondering how hopeless made it into the schedule of topics. Well, you can blame my husband for that, or you can thank him, depending on how this all works out. I mentioned in yesterday's episode how I had inadvertently put on a mask of hope. And I didn't even know that you could put on a mask of hope, but it seems that when I share my focus on being positive and being encouraging, I didn't allow for my struggles to show through. When I share the encouragement and possibility thinking, I didn't allow people to see the path through my struggles. So my husband and my family and my friends always thought that I was hope-filled, always hope-filled, always encouraged, always full of it. Joy, of course, joy. I was full of joy. My husband truly did believe that I lived in this whole world of rainbows and lollipops and magical unicorns. And not the kind like from the League of Legends. That's just wrong. But believe me, I preferred to live in that world of rainbows and lollipops and hope and encouragement. It's why I focused on talking about and sharing the good, the positive, the uplifting, the encouraging words. I wanted to feed that to my heart. I wanted to feed myself encouragement and hope. After all, Philippians 4:8 tells us to do just that, to focus on those things. When I focus on the struggles, that's all I see. But when I focus on the hope and the encouragement, then the struggles are hidden away. They're fenced in so they can't disturb me or disturb others. But others, especially those closest to me, had no idea that I ever struggled with hope. They had no idea what it took for me to stay focused on the hope during those rough days. They had no idea what it took for me to get through those tough seasons because they didn't know I was going through tough seasons. So my husband encouraged me to share my struggles so that I could show my hope. So here we are. That is how a hope smith begins sharing hopeless stories. Have you ever faced a moment of hopeless? Or maybe you've trudged through a whole season of hopeless. Well, here's my season, my most recent season of hopeless. In 2020, I declared at the very beginning of the year that my speaking and writing career would finally get to where I believed, where I thought it should be, where I wanted it to be. I mapped out a plan. I showed it to my husband, explained the investment of time and energy and resources that would be required to make it happen, and he agreed to give me a whole 90 days to make progress. Turns out 90 days is what you need to be able to judge whether or not something's working. I had probably never gone 90 days, or at least that's what I told Laura. I've never pursued something consistently for 90 days because if it's not working, I just shift and go somewhere else. I chase another squirrel. But here I was, committed to 90 days. Well, do you happen to remember what happened in the third month of 2020? Let's just say that my speaking plans were no longer quite viable. I tried to pivot. I really did. But a tornado landed on my office. Everything that I had planned quite literally flew out the window. The canopy of old growth forest that had surrounded our little cabin in the woods came tumbling down. All around us, all on us. Our home, our cars, our tractor, even the lawnmower. Nothing would ever be the same. And I struggled. The flower gardens I had spent years cultivating, that I had actually salvaged from my grandparents' property, they were covered in trees. My mom's garden, her joy garden that I had planted with the flowers that she had purchased before she passed away, yeah, that was under a tree. The money that we received from the insurance company wouldn't even make a dent in the damage. And that added to my struggle. So what do you do when what you thought you were going to do is just crushed under trees? Or where do you turn when the people that you thought you were supposed to depend on, the people that were supposed to be helping you, do all they can to hurt you? The day after the tornado was extremely tough for me. We had to walk in. We walked into the property and you couldn't even see the house. It was so covered you couldn't even see the house. Every single tree that had been around the house, and we had a large, like I said, it was old growth forest, was laying down on the house. But I looked for the hope, because if those trees hadn't laid down on the house when that tornado came over us, we wouldn't be here today. So I was grateful that we were all safe and the pets were all safe. I found hope. That was the first day of a cycle of hurt and hope. When the insurance cut our rental money because they said we weren't making the progress they wanted to see, I found hope in an unexpected contract jobs too, as a matter of fact, that allowed us to continue to renting. But when the rental we were in sold unexpectedly and we were pushed out, I found hope in a new rental that actually cost less and gave us a better view. So that was my cycle. Hurt to hope, hurt to hope, hurt to hope, until it was the court case against the insurance company that broke me. For 3 days, I endured the insurance company's lawyer labeling me a thief and a liar. For 3 days, I listened to that. And at the end of those 3 days, the jury agreed. I mean, they didn't actually agree. The verdict was that we really did get hit by a tornado, but the insurance company really didn't have to fulfill the policy. There's no hope in that. There's no hope. You can't find hope in that storm. Our savings were gone. Our home was gone. The possibilities were gone. And I sat in stunned silence. My hope gone. I was truly and utterly hopeless. One of our lawyers tried to console me, but when you are face down and hopeless like that, you don't want consoling. You want to disappear. Just don't. I held up my hand to stop him. Because let's be honest, what can you really say to someone in that situation? I was hurt. I was mad. I had nowhere to go. If I had been able to, I would have quit right then and there. I would have quit it all. I would have deleted my websites. I would have deleted my social media. I would have deleted my dreams of speaking hope to the world, because why would anyone in the world want to listen to hope and encouragement from someone who 8 people had declared was a thief and a liar? But I couldn't quit. Not yet. I had a 2-hour drive because I was the one that had to drive. My husband had a hurt leg. He couldn't drive. So I had 2 hours before I could quit hope. But I was quitting hope. Have you ever been ready to quit on hope? My husband didn't say anything. he processes quietly, which really makes for an interesting trip when you're a talker and he's not. But he did text our sons. He told me he was going to text our sons and let them know the verdict. It was just as well that he didn't want to talk, because I was so caught up in wallowing in my self-deprecating hole of hopelessness that I couldn't have talked. My oldest son was the first to respond. His text read, "God's got this." That's it. Just 3 little words, or 4 words for you grammar technicians out there. But those words were all I needed to break the bondage of hopeless. So how do you break through hopeless? Well, 1, you need a reserve of hope. 2, you need to have reinforcements of hope warriors around you. 3, you need to turn to hope, which requires turning away from hopeless. 4, you need to let go of the why and lean into the what now. And 5, you need to reset the truth and reset to truth, because you need to know that hope will never, ever allow for hopeless. Now, I clung to those words from my son like they were the lifeline that they had. I mean, they were my lifeline. I had no hope in my heart. But because I had poured out hope all those years, that hope that I had poured out came pouring back on me. That's why we need to be consistently invested in hope, because you never know when there's going to be a drought. And when that drought comes, you need to be prepared. So the first thing you need to do in order to be able to break through hopeless is to have a reserve of hope built up. If I have quoted Philippians 4:8 once, I have quoted it 1,000,000 times. It is my default quote, only I have a Lang translation. The original verse says, "Whatever is true or noble or just or pure or lovely or of good report or with virtue or is praiseworthy, meditate on it." The Lang translation is, "Focus on the good, the positive, the encouraging, and the uplifting." So every day, all the time, I pointed out the good, the positive, the encouraging, and the uplifting. When I hit my wall, the reserve kicked in. And not only did the reserve kick in, but it was brought to me by reinforcements. Who do you have around you that is always looking for the silver lining, or that is always pointing out the rainbows? The second thing you need with you in order to break through the hopeless is reinforcements. You're not designed to do this alone. And when you have those encouraging people around you, then you will find the hope you need when the hopeless shows up. Remember, you want to start accumulating your hope reinforcements long before you need them. It's said that you become you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'll get there in a minute. So, are you creating a reserve of hope? Are you becoming a harbinger of hopeless? You want to choose the right people so that you fuel the right results. Once you have the right people in place, then you have to choose to turn to hope. It's hard to choose hope in the hurt place, mainly because you don't want to choose anything. I said I wanted to disappear after the verdict, but what I really wanted more than anything was to just fade away. My son sent the words of hope, but I still had to choose that path. If you get nothing from today's episode other than this, listen close. The more you choose hope, the more you will choose hope. Hope becomes your default position when you keep choosing hope. So when the hopeless moments overwhelm you, it's going to be easier. It's going to be more natural to choose hope when it shows itself. I received my son's words of hope because I had practiced hope. But still, just receiving hope doesn't make the circumstances change. It doesn't make the pain go away. It doesn't make the problem disappear. I still had to deal with the results of that verdict. And I was still so mad. Why? I yelled that when I was able to finally let it out. Why? I wanted to know why. I had the chance to talk to one of the jurors, and his response didn't help. It left me with even more whys, more frustration, more anger. When I stopped trying to figure it out and I started leaning into the next step, well, hopeless was the one fading. I had to release the need to know why. So the fourth thing you need to do to break through the hopeless is to be willing to release the need to know why and to lean into the what now of your situation. Each little shift I made, each little choice I made, each little change I chose made room for more hope until I was able to face the full truth of hope. Hope never left me. I felt like hope had left, but the feelings aren't the truth. It looked like hope had left, but the eyes don't tell the full story. The fifth thing you need to know to break through the hopeless is that you have to reset to truth. See, hope is. Not because of what I've done, not because of who I am. Hope is because of who hope is. And because I am His, I never am far from hope. Do I still have moments of hurt? If you listened to yesterday's episode, then you know I do. Does hopeless win? Nope. Not as long as I hold to hope. Because hope's always there. I just have to hold to it. And it doesn't have to be a lot of hope. Sometimes all you can hope is that your hope will show up. But you start by hoping that hope will show up, and then hope shows up. Are you holding on to hope, or are you wallowing in a hole of hopelessness? I've been there. I was there 3 days ago. So send me a message and we can talk. Or we can just hang out and not talk. Because sometimes talking isn't the thing you're ready for yet. Hope is there. Sometimes you just have to turn a little bit to be able to see it. But once you see hope, hopeless doesn't stand a chance. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Growing Hope, where we grew some hope by sharing a little bit of hopeless. And in the process, we revealed the truth that hope always wins. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how it feels. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they did. Hope is. Hope wins. Choose hope, and you will win. You are not alone. I know it feels like it. When you're in that hopeless place, it feels like you're alone. But you have people around you. You have me. Reach out, and let's start winning. Until next time, be blessed. And in all that you're doing, be a blessing.
Thank you for joining us for Growing Hope with Kathryn Lang, where we are sharing hope, encouragement, and inspiration to do more. Visit www.kathrynlang.com to invite Kathryn to be part of your event or to share your own stories of possibility living. Until next time, remember that a seed of hope planted and nurtured will grow up into a world of possibilities.